State Federal Credit Union will help you unlock all your possibilities and every opportunity with a mortgage or our home equity line of credit. And you can be sure we'll be right by you every step of the way, making it as easy and convenient as possible. Hawaii State Federal Credit Union, always right by you.
Inside Access on OC Sports is sponsored by Strong.
It was the worst conference home loss in the history of Hawaii football. It was in front of 15,118 fans, smallest Hawaii football home crowd since Aloha Stadium was erected in 1976. And it was the end of the Norm Chow era as head coach of the University of Hawaii football team. The game against Air Force, in a word, was ugly. We got a lot to talk about. I'm Robert Kekaula. This is Inside Access here in OC Sport.
Start seeing zero in all your purchases with a Bank of Hawaii American Express card or Visa credit card with My Banco Rewards. Pay 0% on purchases for 18 months and then up to 16.98% variable APR. Plus, earn 10,000 bonus points when you spend $1,000. So start seeing zero in your purchases. Apply at BOH.com or any branch today. Bank of Hawaii. That's my bank.
At Supercuts, we pay attention to every detail. The cut, the lines, the hot towel finish. So you'll feel sharp, clean, and ready to go. And the moment you're not feeling ready, pop right back in, and we'll get you ready to go again. And now skip the wait by checking in with our mobile app or at supercuts.com.
I'm so very proud to introduce the next head coach of the University of Hawaii Manoa football program, Norm Chow.
I'm honored, I'm humbled, and I'm awfully excited to be here. To stand before you as the next football coach of the University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. I also realize the responsibilities of a football coach. I do. I've been at it a long time. We're going to win football games. We're going to win as many football games as we can possibly win. That I will tell you. We will win football games and we will chase championships. That's our job. I also understand the responsibility of putting together a product on a Saturday afternoon that will make all of us that represent the University of Hawaii, and more importantly, all of us that represent the state of Hawaii, will make them proud. We'll make all of you proud. That, as well, is a promise to all of you. Again, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the decision makers. I'm looking forward to this. And thank you for allowing me to come home.
In his fourth season of his 5-year contract, Norm Chow's reign as head coach at UH is over. Welcome to Inside Access. I'm Robert Kekaula with Nady Lau, Stephen Tsai, Rich Miano. Emotional start. Emotional, and head coach got to meet with the team early Monday morning before saying his final goodbyes, to say his final goodbyes. Reactions first on the Norm Chow era.
I don't know where to begin, but as far as offensively, I just never thought they found an identity throughout all the years. I think it was a lot of mix and matching, personnel, coaches, just nothing that was really a solid foundation for them to grow.
Stephen?
I think so. I think they tried, and he worked hard. The players worked hard. I don't know what happened. It was like a nice formula that should have happened and just didn't happen. Sometimes just things don't happen. I don't know if it's synergy or whatever it is. It just didn't happen.
Good man, Norm Chow is, but 10-36 over the 4-year period is probably what brought it to the end.
Yeah, Robert, we all know that there's probably 3 components. One is winning. Obviously, there weren't enough. Tua's attendance, obviously that was dissipating. And I think the third thing, give Norm Chow a lot of credit for it, and maybe I'll kind of ad lib about this, but GPA, APR, character, and I think also got some facility issues resolved.
Yeah, no question.
There's a lot of good things that Coach Chow did. Unfortunately, it came to an end.
Yeah, it came down to wins and losses in the business of college athletics today. We'll talk more about Norm Chow. We'll talk more about who steps in, who steps up to run this football team. But first, let's talk about 58-7. Saturday night, Hawaii versus Air Force. From the get-go, it was one of those nights.
Yeah, and from a defensive perspective, you have to stop the dive and the triple option. They didn't do that. Then it's going to become the quarterback. Then it was the pitch. They continued to stay on track, the Air Force, in terms of getting first downs, getting the ball in the end zone, not turning the ball over. From a defensive perspective, I thought Hawaii would play better because they've seen an option, but this was a better option.
Steven Tsai, your thoughts about Hawaii against Air Force?
And I think the big thing, again, is time of possession, and it falls on both sides. The defense didn't stop them. Offense couldn't move it. You can't have 15 minutes of holding the ball and to expect to win or even be competitive, and they weren't competitive.
Nate, on offense, could you ever see yourself playing in this type of offense?
You'd be a great fullback.
And for Air Force? Or?
Any type of triple option.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, obviously you see right here, McVay was coming into the end of the game, and, it was just kind of like plug and play. Some of these guys are coming in. He came off the bench, had 100 yards himself. So it was one of those things where guys are eager to get out there and perform.
Would it be bad if I say that Timothy McVeigh's a killer of a football player?
His own name, especially.
Yeah. Well, interesting thing, my dad worked in that building.
Really?
In Oklahoma City.
Terrible.
Wow. So
it was a recruiter.
After the game, we think it's bad watching it a few days later. After the game, thoughts weren't much better.
The game got away from us. That's the bottom line. I thought we were prepared. I thought we had a good game plan going in. Obviously, we didn't execute it. Maybe I should have had a different game plan. You always second guess that stuff, but I mean that was as bad a football as I've seen in a long time.
I give Air Force all the credit, but it was more so us not doing our job. We weren't disciplined. We didn't do the fundamental things right, tackling, getting off blocks, and then we didn't follow our game plan, so it got bad.
Yeah, it was bad. I haven't seen the stats yet, but we ended up only having somewhere around 40 plays on offense. I felt like I barely played tonight. They run it well, and they're a well-disciplined team, well coached, and we just didn't execute.
Tonight, we it showed. We couldn't get it. We couldn't get rolling. We couldn't stop them. We got stopped. We couldn't do anything, and really, if that happens, me personally, you can't go in the tank. Like you just gotta keep, just keep going, find a way, keep finding a way, just keep trying to get better, and fix what's going on.
When it was all said and done, 496 yards rushing to -2. 496 is the fourth most by any team against any Hawaii football team. That's a lot of yards. 496.
It is. I mean, I think the -2 though is more surprising because you figure, you're going to get some type of rushing game going, but they weren't able to find, whatever they were needing to get the base of their running game going, and you can't win games that way.
Was there any bright spot at all? Hawaii versus Air Force?
Well, as we learned, it was the punter, but that's not a good thing when your punter is your best player, and they just gave too many opportunities to punt, and I don't know, it just wasn't there, especially when the other team is going to do the same thing. They're going to run on you, and they're not. It's not like the joke or anything where he's going to try to trick you or anything. He's coming right after you. They're going to run, and they couldn't stop it.
Any bright spots from your eyes, from your perspective?
Statistics sometimes can be a misnomer, but there's no misnomers. When you look at turnovers, you look at rushing yards, you look at time of possession, you look at all of those things. Hawaii did not beat Air Force in any category, including preparation and execution.
One bright spot, maybe?
Kennedy's hit.
Keelan Evoliko.
Catch the ball, and wherever I did, sprinting up the middle, and I just see everyone just get their blocks. Everyone's on their guy. I just see green, I see daylight, and I just hit it. Some guy tries to jump, I stiff arm him, and then at that point I saw the kicker way inside, and it was like, there's no way he's gonna catch me, and I broke it just hit stride and scored.
As you turn the corner, you're in full speed. Do you know that's the kicker? Like, there's no possible way I'm letting the kicker take me down.
No, yeah, I'm always thinking that. Like, I know that's the kicker, and there's like our coach is like, if you get tackled by the kicker, then you get fired. So like, I'm always thinking like, I'm never gonna let a kicker tackle me ever. Like, that's embarrassing. I don't play too much offense, so like, I've been playing a lot of special teams. So I try to do whatever I can to help the team in any way on special teams. You know, we were able to get some points, you know, because of the sacrifice that the other 10 guys do, allows me to do what I can do.
The kick return for touchdown on special teams. Is that a message like, give me a chance on offense?
You can say that. You can say, I mean, like, I don't really mean it's a sign, but, you know, whenever I hit the field, I want to do something great. I want to, you know, like, I want to make plays every time I touch the ball, every time I step on the field, you know, just be a difference, you know, make a difference on the field or in the game of play.
Another bright spot, as Steven mentioned earlier, Rigo Sanchez on Monday named National Punter of the Week. Not even Conference Special Teams Player of the Week, but National Punter of the Week by the Ray Guy Foundation, and the award given out annually to the best punter in college football. 7 punts, 364 total yards, a 52-yard average, including this one that went 73 yards. And it was also a surprise, maybe to many, to see a defensive back wearing a wide receiver's jersey number. Vasquez Haynes, 81. On one series, made 3 tackles in the one series. He did get a personal foul for a tackle way out of bounds, but nobody saw this coming.
Well, not at all. I mean, but you can see he's out there wanting to make plays, willing to sacrifice his body. He's out there, he's active. And those are one of those things that, you know, at this time, you know, 4 games left, you know, just see who wants to be out there and who doesn't, you know, and let them get out there and play.
Now, as Vasquez Haynes got his job in the secondary, as the game went along, and we see him making another tackle, Kennedy Tulimaseli had a couple of plays on defense that were absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, for as little as the attendance was, around 15,000 people, when Kennedy Tulimaseli made that tackle in the backfield, I think the fans got more excited about that than probably the other 150 plays in this football game. That was exciting, and that's what the fans want to see, is hard-hitting defense. Everybody loves Kennedy.
Steven, 90 has got game.
He does, and he plays with so much enthusiasm. He riles up the team, but it's just unfortunately there weren't enough plays made by the defense.
Now the big play by the Y9 Sea Rider, this is absolutely mind-blowing. He almost took the handoff on a fullback dive by blowing up the fullback. That's a big-time college football play. Kennedy Tulimaseli, 6'1", 285 pounds, 7 tackles, 6 of them solo, and 3 tackles for loss of yards. And just for giggles, 81, look at that. Well, not 81. This is guy, it's not the giggle about him. Joe Garcia-Williams is a beast. 17 tackles. Now, you know it might not be your night when Air Force scores a touchdown late in the game, and the outcome has been decided, and they kick an extra point and miss. But the officials say it's good. I mean, clearly, the extra point late in the game, look at this again.
Wow.
That is not even close.
Wow.
Now, the word we get, and I'm trying to look it up here.
8 letters he could have hit, right?
The official ruling was lack of competitive impact. So let it be.
Wow.
What?
Wow. That is so hard to believe because it wasn't close.
I think the translation is oops.
The translation is it's late, it's hot, let's go home. A change at head coach for the University of Hawaii football team. We'll get to that when we come out here on Inside Access on OC Sports.
You saw this day. Yes, you were smaller then, but you knew it would come. And as time passed, through the trying days, sleepless nights, and never-ending cynics, you were the one who kept on working, refining, perfecting. Because this business is not what you do, It's who you are.
Solar water heating is very affordable and it does pay off quickly.
Our solar water heater is a great saver on your electric bill.
Our products differentiate us from anybody on island, from the collectors themselves, which are Celine. They're the only ones that actually offer a limited lifetime warranty. The actual solar tank, we offer a 12-year warranty on those.
We've been doing this for over 20 years. We're one of the oldest solar companies in Hawaii.
Our roots are still as a local company. We do good work and we see the process through from start to finish.
Inside Access on OC Sports is sponsored by Strong.
Well, you know, I think like anything else, you look at the body of work over the last 4 years, and specifically, you know, what's transpired in the last several weeks. I think you make decisions like these because you believe they're in the best interest of student athletes today and moving forward, and put us in a position where we can compete. I just spoke with the players before I came in here about finishing up the rest of the season. They're very resilient. They're very resilient. They'll continue to play hard.
I think we've been a close team since the beginning, through all of it. Obviously, it's been hard, but I think everyone has stuck together pretty well. Overall, everyone's kind of realizing that we can still win these 4 games and come out with a decent season. Of course, it's hard losing Chow. He was a good coach, but they're excited about what Maui can do.
We got to move forward from it. I mean, that's the AD's decision. I mean, by no means, I'm not in any positions, none of the players. We have no control over that. Our job is to play football and prepare for UNLV. That's how we're taking it. It's business as usual. We got to move forward and try to get this win.
Okay, first, Norm Chow. In his 4th season, 10-36 overall, 4-25 in the Mountain West Conference. Still got 4 games left of this season. He will get paid out for that. There's a buyout for the final year of his contract of $200,000. First, let me ask you guys, the decision to make a change at head coach at this point, right decision, wrong decision?
I think tough decision, but I think that's what leadership is all about. So I think it was the right decision.
Stephen?
I think so, but they could have stretched out the end of the year. I don't know why exactly they have to do this at this point, because you could still, I mean, it looks like the hiring process is going to last through the end of the year. So, but I guess you have to change things. But it seems like his job wasn't so much to be coaching, his job was the administering part. And I think that's going to be hard when you go on the road and you have to, you know, set things, and he's
Nate,
do that.
The struggle was real.
It was, and I mean, I think it's a good decision, and part where, you know, if you have high school players or recruits or who are watching this, you know, maybe this could, you know, a change could be something that could swing them this way, or anything like that, but you know, you just have to wait and see. Like, you know, they're saying maybe at the end of the year, you don't know who's going to be the next guy to come in, but you know, for others, it might be breath of fresh air to see some change.
You know, I was disappointed in not just, I mean, he had to be let go. I mean, obviously, they weren't doing the job and everything. I was just kind of disappointed in the viciousness of people and fans of him being let go. I mean, there's a way to let you go, and I know that he's probably tried their patience, and if you're better, he's tried your wallets and everything, but he just, I think people need to be more respectful, and I just don't think it was. I've never seen this level of viciousness for, you know, the Aloha State. I'm kind of disappointed by that.
Robert, in order for this program to move ahead, we need alignment. We need people to support the president, the chancellor, the athletic director, the head football coach. And once that happens, and that's why I think what Stephen's talking about, the negativity, if you elect somebody to do a job, support them as long as possible. And until we get the alignment that other teams have and become a system and a program, it's going to be hard to be successful.
I think in this situation, with Norm Chow as head coach, alignment was tough. He's been the coach in his 4th season. There's been 4 athletic directors, 3 chancellors, 2 presidents at the University of Hawaii. Tough. So Norm Chow, his reign as head coach of the University of Hawaii football team has come to an end. Athletic director Dave Matlin, Tab Ditska, associate head coach Chris Naoli, in charge of the offensive line, former Kahuku standout, All-American at Colorado as an offensive guard, played in the NFL 12 seasons, 1997, first-round draft pick, 10th overall. Up until Marcus Mariota, he and Tyson Alualu, the 2 highest drafted players raised and played high school football in the state of Hawaii. And his presence as the head coach? Is there a complete opposite from how one guy presents himself and how the other guy? Chris Naole is no nonsense.
Opposite ends of the spectrum. Passion, toughness. I think he'll be a great leader, especially in the interim, because he's played in the NFL. He is doing this for the right reasons. He's here at the University of Hawaii to make this a better program, and I think the offensive line might be the most consistent position group over the last 3 years.
And probably used to the tough love.
Well,
You've seen him, Chris. Stephen, in practice?
Well, I think what Chow tried to implement discipline, I think he enforces it. He's a guy who's really tough and everything. And what I like is he doesn't have any ulterior motives. He's not auditioning for the job. It's clear he likes to be a position coach, and I think he's just trying to straighten this out, toughen up, and make him fight to the finish line, because it's easy to give up now. There's no bowl game. There's no winning season. It's just the tough part, and he's, the last few miles of a marathon's the hardest. I think he's going to really get him going.
Nate, you saw the things he said in his first press conference. He's not going to take any BS. Mm-hmm. You don't like it, there's a door, get out. As a player, how does that not just perk you up?
Well, I mean, it just shows you. I mean, he's about true business of the game. And just a side note, I grew up in Oklahoma, and when he was at Colorado, he'd come play the Sooners, and my brother was getting recruited, and I got to see firsthand how tough he was and how he played the game, when he was at Colorado. And I've known him since he's been back home, and he transfers that to the kids on how you're supposed to play the game. And I think they're going to respond well. These last 4 weeks, they're going to give full effort, and we'll see what happens.
Monday morning, 7 a.m. Chris Naole, as interim head coach, made his first presentation as the head guy to his football team. Their reaction afterward?
Well, Chris is the associate head coach. I think Chris will command respect to the players. We have one road trip left, and as well as 3 games left. We felt Chris was the most equipped guy to do it. He also has he's been here the longest, so he's got a feel for the players. He's been here when a lot of them recruited, and I think that's important.
Coach Chris came and talked to us. And I mean, he made it clear that he's not trying to invent the wheel. He can't change everything. It's not like he has all the answers. But he is going to make a few changes, and I know he cares a lot about the program. He's going to do whatever he can to make sure these last 4 good couple of weeks.
He's already been tough love with me a couple times out there on the field, so I already know I love it. I think it's a good change for what we need, and just we got to get forward and move forward. That's how I think we need to take this approach on these next 4 games, is to be hands-on and be up front and right there going at it, because if not, it's going to get bad. But if we come out fighting and swinging, we're going to be ready to play.
You notice the Heisman Trophy winner in that video? The white long-sleeve shirt? Rashaan Salaam.
I want to know about being tough love when you're a linebacker and he's the offensive line coach. Is he extended his bubble of
coaches on the sidelines? Period. Doesn't matter what happens.
Rashaan Salaam, 8-man football.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a recruit for Colorado.
And he was Naole's running back when Naole was a starting guard when Rashaan Salaam.
Trivia: who was the last interim head coach that Hawaii had in football?
I don't know. Nate?
Handsome bug.
Robert?
No, not me. When we come back, we will hear from the interim head coach, Chris Naole, here on Inside Access on OC Sports. It's been a crazy couple of days here for you. Your head spinning?
Definitely. It's been a whirlwind experience since I went down to Dave's office. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't see, day-to-day activities, how to handle the team, make sure everybody's good, coaching staff. It's a tough situation for everybody. But I think guys understand the profession that we're in, and they're ready to work, and I think the kids are pumped up too.
Your offensive line group has a clear picture of no nonsense. Has everybody else jumped on board the other positions? Oh, that's what you guys go through.
Definitely. We try to pride ourselves as the hardest working group out there, and I think I talk to the kids day to day about it, about working hard, earning things. It's not about give me. You actually have to put in some work to earn some stuff. But hopefully the rest of these guys will buy in, and we have 4 games, one at a time, and just looking forward to playing UNLV this weekend.
How'd the message go across to these young kids about, I'm not going to stand for any nonsense? You do your work or you get the heck out?
I think it was pretty clear. I'm kind of unfiltered, so I kind of give it to them straight from the heart. No paper, no magic or nothing, man. I just speak from the heart, and I told them exactly what I expect out of them and how things are going to be, and working with the coaching staff, and we try to get this thing fixed.
Transformation from a player to a coach, where you're at now. You understand the work necessary to get ready for Saturdays, for Sundays, or whatever it may be. Is that what you can translate to them? I've done it. This is how you do it. There's no shortcuts.
Definitely. I played, there's a reason why I played in the league for so long. It's not only the lifting and all the running and all that, how good of an athlete you are. I think the game is won in the film room, understanding your opponent, know exactly what moves they're going to make, how they're going to make them, what are they thinking. I try to, teach the kids about, what they need to do and how to be a pro, be on time, take notes. I was in the league for 12 years and I took notes every day. And I think that's what has to transition to some of these guys.
There's not enough time to make wholesale changes schematically. They are what they are. Tighten them up, execute. What more can be done schematically on both sides?
I don't think there's anything you can do schematically. You can't reinvent the wheel right now. I think the one thing you do is try to be positive and get the energy and get the best out of these kids to go play on Saturday and have a good game. You see the look on their eyes when you addressed them for the first time as the interim head coach? Definitely. I think they were a little quiet when I was done, but I'm going to demand a lot of these guys the next 4 weeks, and hopefully they respond and take criticism well and be motivated and give me the best they got for these next 4 weeks. Did the stare pierce any souls in that? Definitely. Like I said, man, if you look in people's eyes, it'll tell you exactly what they're feeling and how they're feeling it. And I'm not going to put up with no bullshit. So we'll see what happens. UNLV, this is it. This is start over. Air Force is behind you. What does UNLV bring to the table? I think they're a new program too with a new coach. They want some games. They got some good players on defense, some good players on offense. We're looking forward to the good matchup with them. We need to put together a good game plan and be ready to attack. Fun in football. These kids probably haven't tasted it enough. Fun is winning. Fun is putting that guy across you on his backside. Is that what you bring to the table? Definitely. I told the kids this morning, we got to win games. That's the bottom line. That's part of this business, winning games. But if you're going to do it, you might as well have fun, hurting people. This game is about legalized violence, and, I like doing it. I used to like doing it. Trying to translate some of these guys, this is what you need to do it, how to get done. One last thing. Coach Chow, Monday morning, got to address the team, to say his goodbyes, closure for him. How'd that go? It went well. Coach gave a good speech. It was short and quick. I think he touched a lot of guys. I felt good about it. I thank Coach for the opportunity, for giving me the opportunity to even get started in this business and coaching, and I wish him the best. Good luck against UNLV, man. Appreciate it. You ready to shut up, aren't you?
Yeah. Fired up, and I think that's what he's going to bring to the team. These last 4 weeks is, you can't redo schemes and all those things, but you can get more effort, you can get more passion. A lot of those things you don't have to go purchase, or it doesn't cost anything. You can you have it. You just got to put it on display for 4 quarters.
I like 2 things about him. One, he has built such unity with his offensive line. If somebody makes a mistake, they all get punished. One pay, all pay. Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's all, nobody is separated from the group. The other thing I like is he's a gifted athlete, like Nate and like Rich. And like Nate and Rich, they're able to coach guys who maybe aren't gifted, and that's hard to do. I mean, to go down and reach someone's level who might not be able to do the things he was able to do.
I saw you shaking your head when he was talking about being professional. Right. Even though you're a college kid.
Yes.
But there are ways to prepare.
Yes.
And there are ways not to prepare. You were loving what he was saying.
Because he talked about it. He took notes for 12 years. Clear, concise message. Finish the play, finish the game, and I'm sure now that he's a head coach is finish your homework, because it's going to be all-inclusive of being successful. You win football games by being smart, well-prepared, and executing. And Chris knows that.
Stick around. We got much more. Inside Access will take our weekly journey to the dark side when we come back.
paradise, bad still happens. Protect your small business with a custom policy and local service tailored to you from First Insurance of Hawaii. Get a quote today.
Welcome back to Inside Access here on OC Sports. Time for our weekly venture to the dark side of fantasy football with our OC Sports guru, Derek Holmgren. Derek, before you talk, let me just tell you, I had Drew Brees.
Congratulations. So
it's finally.
But I lost. I think you won. Yeah. I lost.
You lost with Drew Brees?
I lost. It's amazing. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Very unfortunate. 2-quarterback league, long story.
Oh, long story.
Don't want to talk about it. But let's go into our studs. And I think it's mixed emotions all weekend. I think just you look at just the injuries and you look at the high performance. But I think we start with the early game on Sunday. And these guys absolutely lit it up. I mean, someone entered the cheat code and it was all offense. Over 1,000 yards of total offense. The two quarterbacks put up over 800 yards of passing. Drew Brees, 511 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 46 fantasy points. And then on the other side, Eli Manning, 350 yards, 6 touchdowns, 38 fantasy points. And the guy that we pulled as our dud last week, Odell Beckham, we told you to wait. We told you to pump the brakes. 120 yards, 3 touchdowns, 31 fantasy points. When it's that type of offense and you got that type of score, you got a lot of exciting and happy fantasy owners.
Now, as well as Drew Brees and Eli Manning were in that shootout, combined 13 touchdown passes.
Unbelievable.
How is it Aaron Rodgers could be so bad on a Sunday? Because he probably, up to that point, the best player in the NFL.
And everyone was touting it as the two defenses. I mean, number 1 and number 2 defenses coming into the game and huge offenses. And you got Peyton Manning struggling. You didn't think Aaron Rodgers was going to do this, but 14 of 22, 77 yards, 0 touchdowns. That's 6 fantasy points because he did happen to get 30 yards rushing. But the Denver defense is no joke, man. That defense is legit, and they put a lot of pressure on Rodgers. Rodgers was basically running for his life in the second half. And with that type of thing, I think you just got to watch it. I think the Green Bay Packer offense is going to be okay. I mean, there's questions arising because of Jordy Nelson's injury. Could that be affecting it? And Randall Cobb isn't technically a number 1 wide receiver, basically, and Devontae Adams hasn't even stepped up. So I think you just got to watch it, let it play out. And on the other side, Chris Ivory, our second dud, 17 rushing yards, 24 receiving yards, 3 fantasy points. This is why a few weeks back that basically he was an RB1. I mean, they were looking at him as basically the guy. Top 5 running back, but these past few weeks have not been good. Fitzpatrick went down. Geno Smith came in. The quarterback struggles. That's more of just a game flow thing, I think. So you just got to kind of watch it. But the Jets defense, a huge dud, -6 fantasy points. We didn't put it on there, but huge. A lot of fantasy owners not happy with the number 1 ranked defense, apparently, but not so much.
The late game at Green Bay and Denver, matchup of the unbeatens and surprises of the week from that game, run game of the Broncos.
Huge surprises, and here we go. I mean, these happen to be our duds for a few weeks in a row. But C.J. Anderson, Ronnie Hillman, I mean, 14 rushes, 101 yards. Looks like the bye week did do some good for these guys. I think I heard Anderson just got healthy, stepped up big time, 16 fantasy points. And Hillman, I mean, you look at this RBBC, running back by committee, 19 rushes, 60 yards. Peyton Manning with over 300 yards passing, no passing touchdowns, but definitely used the run game. And a lot of talk with how Peyton is really meshing well with Kubiak's zone read type of offense. So if this continues, I mean, the Broncos are 7-0, and Peyton's not playing well. I mean, if this offense starts to click, you look at Peyton Manning starting to get going, and just news off the wire. I mean, we just heard Vernon Davis picked up and traded to the Broncos, so another weapon for Peyton. This could be big things for Peyton in the second half of the season.
Injuries have a place in this game of football. Steelers lose their top running back in Le'Veon Bell to injury. Baltimore loses Steve Smith Sr. But the Le'Veon Bell situation in Pittsburgh, time to jump on the waiver wire and grab next man up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, definitely. DeAngelo Williams. And hopefully if you had Le'Veon Bell, this is the reason why we say you handcuff him with DeAngelo Williams. And 34% ownership. A lot of people didn't do that. So definitely a number 1 waiver priority on the season. I mean, when he did have those 2 games with Bell out, huge numbers. I mean, 3 touchdowns, 40 fantasy points. So he's going to be definitely a top 12 running back slotted in. I mean, just when we thought the Steeler offense is going to get clicking and you had everybody healthy, everybody back, and they lose one of the best running backs in the league, basically. So we'll have to watch that. Another guy that went down, Matt Forte, they're saying it's an MCL strain. So he could be back maybe 2 to 4 weeks. But Jeremy Langford, a guy definitely to put on your radar. Definitely a guy you got to pick up. 8% ownership. He came in when Forte went down, did really well, and was the main guy. So watch for that. Watch for these two guys being the guys that you pick up. Another guy you mentioned, Steve Smith, going down. Kamar Aiken could be another guy you target from a wide receiver perspective.
I had Drew Brees, and I won.
Right.
Derek had Drew Brees, and he lost.
Sick.
Well, thank Derek Holma from OC Sports taking us through our weekly journey through fantasy football.
Thanks, Robert.
Let's get ready to go. Sponsored by Supercuts.
So are you ready to go? Up next for the Rainbow Warriors, UNLV, 2-6 overall, 1-3 in the West Division of the Mountain West Conference. Their wins against Idaho State, and they won the rivalry game against Nevada Reno. Their losses, Northern Illinois, UCLA, Michigan, San Jose State, Fresno State, Boise State, sorry. Tony Sanchez, first-year head coach for the Rebels, who leads this series 15-9. Last season, 37-35, the Hail Mary. Ikaika Woolsey to Marcus Kemp. 2 years ago, Hawaii lost late in the game on the road. Ninth Island, everybody calls it. What are you all thinking as you check this out?
Well, that's a kick that had a competitive importance.
Yeah, that's a kick with did not have a lack of competitive importance. 2013, the loss late in the game after a face mask penalty. UNLV is struggling a little bit, and then they show signs of brilliance. Beating Nevada was huge. What are you expecting, Hawaii, Nevada?
Well, I think Hawaii competes well with these guys. I think Chris not only will give these guys the spark to understand how important it is to be tough, to be passionate, and the confidence to win. That's one thing I've always questioned is, are they confident? Do they believe they're going to win? Chris is going to make them believe that they can win.
Steven?
Well, that's not UNLV, that's UFC, because that's giving all that UFC money that they have. And I think when you have money and support and like that, I think that really helps the team. And you can see the confidence. That's a really energetic coach, and they play well. And they have a really good quarterback. Blake Decker's a very good guy.
Yeah, he's a very good quarterback. Hawaii, UNLV, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's going to be tough. I mean, a lot of those guys that are on UNLV's team, we experienced that last year here in the Islands, that last-second win. So, as players, you always look when next season, oh, yeah, you marked it on your calendar.
You remember
that feeling.
Plus, Robert, they have two of the better defenders of local boys. They've got a contingent of local players. So this is Ninth Island, yes. Tulele. Yes.
Good player. He'll love that. It'll be tough. A lot of Hawaii fans, every time Hawaii plays in Hawaii, it's almost a home game. We'll see you guys next week. We'll talk about the Rebels versus the Rainbow Warriors. For Rich Miano, Stephen Tsai, Nate Lawa, I'm Robert Kikaula. For our entire crew, thanks for watching Inside Access here at OC Sports.
All right, it was a week ago today that the three of us unanimously picked the New York Mets to win the World Series. The series is already over. Where does this put our credibility, guys?
Down the drain.
Yeah, a little lower than a snake's belly in a wagon rut.
And now, what do we talk about? I mean, there's nothing going on.
Yeah, this could be a struggle today.
Bank of Hawaii is proud to sponsor this program. But seriously.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to But Seriously. Now, on Saturday night, the University of Hawaii football team was devastated by Air Force. The final score, 58-7. Then things got uglier for the Rainbow Warrior head coach. The announcement came on Sunday that the University of Hawaii was going in a different direction and cutting ties with head coach Norm Chow. The buyout will total somewhere in the realm of $337,000. But let's get right to it, guys. A 10-36 cumulative record in almost 4 full seasons for Norm Chow. Where did this thing go wrong? Bobby, we'll start with you.
Well, I think there are a couple things, and maybe it starts with the fit. Just from the day that Norm Chow was hired. You have an introvert and an extrovert's job. Then you get to the offensive system. Line up, vanilla, pro set, our guys better than your guys. I think there were some problems. Staff hiring, maybe staff hired on the basis of loyalty rather than accomplishment. I think there were some issues right off the bat.
I think stability was the biggest one, especially with the coaching staff, is that you had so many new coaches each and every year. And I think that all started with Norm Chow came here, and despite having such a lengthy and successful career as an assistant coach and being respected and award-winning for what he did as an offensive coordinator, came to the University of Hawaii but didn't bring any colleagues with him. There was no one that's really coached with him before, no one that believed in his system and has coached in his system. He came here and hired a lot of GAs in previous stops, and then friends of friends. Coaches that ended up being pretty good, like Durante Jones, but they had never worked together before. He was someone that knew of a coach that was in the CFL that one time coached with Norm. And I think when you don't have that stability of everyone buying in and everyone understanding a system when it first starts, I think it kind of started a snowball effect.
Yeah, I think the stability goes not only lack of stability on the coaching staff through 4 years, but lack of stability at certain key positions. The quarterback position, right, kept bringing in sort of the next big thing, transfer from a big program, didn't necessarily work out. But I also think stability in what you were talking about, Bobby. He brought an offense. If you look at the best times in University of Hawaii football modern history, it was when they were running what can be described as alternative offenses, right? Under Paul Johnson, Bob Wagner, even Dick Tomey when they were running the option offense, and then under June Jones when they were running the run and shoot. That's when they experienced their greatest successes. Norm Chow brought the more vanilla pro style offense, and the inability to find overwhelming success via that scheme led to then a lack of stability as they were trying to tool it and rework it year after year, and they just never got any solid footing in that regard.
Well, you're always trying to get better players, but I think the problem is you weren't able to separate yourself in terms of physical talent. The way the successful teams did that was by having an offensive system. Schematically, they were hard to prepare for. You know, if you only had 1 week to get ready for Paul Johnson's offense under Bob Wagner or June Jones's offense, you were in trouble. And here, with the pro set, it was pretty vanilla. Was no mystery. You just had to be better than the other guys in order for that to work, and that really wasn't the case. And going forward, it's going to even be tougher because Hawaii's at a disadvantage with not doing the full Monty on the cost of attendance stipends.
And realistically, Hawaii has never won the recruiting battle in Hawaii as far as overwhelmingly getting the best players to stay home. But you were close to it. You were getting some pretty good players. And then when you put them into those systems, whether it's a triple option or the run and shoot, those players that you did get, the second tier Hawaii player, they fit perfectly in that system. Everyone wants to believe that Hawaii produces all these great offensive linemen, and they do. But the thing is they're centers and guards. I mean, you look at the great offensive linemen in Hawaii State history, and Jesse Sapolu and Samson Satele. I mean, outside of Max Unger and Mark Tuine, I mean, all of them are centers and guards, and they need to play in a kind of offense where you're more athletic, you're quicker, and you can use leverage, as opposed to just going man up, man on and saying, you know what, I'm going to blow you off the line of scrimmage.
But I think in a broader sense, this was a perfect storm, right, of poor execution, poor circumstances, difficult scheduling. It just all sort of got thrown together, and none of it actually clicked. And sometimes it's inexplicable. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Bad times. I mean, we saw some moments, obviously, where their frustration boiled over here with Chris Demarest, former assistant coach, blowing up on the sideline. We saw a lot of arguments with officials. Did you see, Bobby, in calling all of these games on radio, did you see sort of a gradual devolving, if you will, of Norm Chow and his persona on the sideline?
Well, I think pretty clearly Norm Chow had some frustrations in his own right, and no surprise there that as the record was not what he had hoped it would be, as the offense and defense weren't as productive as he'd hoped, I think there was growing frustration. And I thought this year it may have been worse simply because Norm Chow had more talent than he'd had previously, but the schedule was going to be tough in the best of circumstances.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's any one thing. There are a handful of events and occasions that took place, whether it be in games or even at practice or behind the scenes. But I think if there's one that we saw in the highlight package, that we talked about last week was when he got that flag towards the end of the first half against Nevada, or against New Mexico, excuse me. No assistant coaches were there to pull him back, and there were just 2 players that were trying to get him, and really not overwhelmingly trying to push him back, kind of just putting their hands on him and trying to diffuse the situation. I think at that point it told myself and a lot of people that this thing is slipping away because no one's there to interfere, no one's there to help him out in this situation. I think that said a lot.
You pointed out before we started rolling the cameras, even just the dispersion, if you will, of the players along the sideline. You started to see maybe that collectiveness, that unity as this season progressed because of the frustration as compared to the expectations. It started to manifest itself, certainly, without a doubt.
I've never seen anything like it. In the second quarter, that Air Force game, when you looked at the sideline, I mean, there were pockets of 3 or 4 players, and that was from the 20 to the 20. They weren't together as a team. They weren't in their units. They weren't, offense was here, defense was there, especially. It was just dispersed amongst from the 20 to 20, and it was a shock to see. It really was.
That whole bit where you expect to see guys a little jacked up on the sideline, and often with white teams we do, and I think even at other times this year you saw it, but on Saturday night, there just wasn't anything. I mean, it was dull and flat. I'm not accusing anyone of quitting because a couple guys played very well, but there just wasn't any visceral feeling of excitement, and that was tough to handle.
Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention some of the positive aspects of Norm Chow's tenure. And, of course, it's difficult sometimes to see through the fuzz of the 10-36 overall record. But at the same time, there were a lot of accomplishments